to Monday, March 20th, regular Board of Education meeting. If you please stand with me for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Yay, today is the first day of spring. And the sun's shining. Items of interest. Board of Education members, does anybody have anything? Nope. Okay, Mrs. Saibula.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, great. Then we will move on to our academic spotlight, which is Palms Elementary. Mr. Michael Domagowski.
Good evening, President Frank, members of the board, Superintendent Saibula, and members in the crowd. I have a lot of Palms community members here as well, which is great. I'm Mike Domagowski. I have the privilege of being the principal at Palms Elementary School. A little bit of a twist on academic spotlight tonight, but we want to highlight some of the cool things that's happening at Palms in a little bit of a different lens. Really quick, just behind me, some introductions. I have Ms. Kaya Vitrino. She's currently a Marine City High School student, 12th grade. A former Palms student, keep that in mind, which is why we're here. I have Ms. Stephanie Visnov, who's a second grade teacher at Palms, and also two students, Blake and Lexi, who you will meet in a bit. Really quick, I told Kaya she's got to pull me off at about 60 to 90 seconds here, because it's really about her, and it's about what we're doing at Palms, which is really exciting. One of the top 10 in 10 strategic plan goals for the state of Michigan for the Department of Education is to increase the number of certified teachers in the area of shortage. It's not just words. There is a teacher shortage. It is a real thing. And I just wanted to throw some numbers, and I did get approval through the state superintendent, Dr. Michael Rice, to steal these slides from him. These are kind of just really rough numbers, or these are actual numbers from the state of Michigan about enrollees in teacher prep programs over the last 10 years. And long story short, not to dig deep, you can see that the numbers have gone down. Less people going into education, long story short. And especially, what really hits me is the completers of those programs. So when you look into the programs, 4,700 to 2,600, that's a big dip, which is creating a shortage. That's one of the reasons. And two things I circled right here that hit me hard when he explained this to us as principals in December at a conference was just the difference in the temporarily assigned or not appropriately certified positions across our state. And it's dramatically increasing, as you can see. And really, I'd be remiss to say, because for our district does a wonderful job of filling these positions. And Ms. Sondemic just smiled at me right there. She does a wonderful job, so I want to commend her, along with our superintendent and our central office administration. It is not a secret. They do a fantastic job of postings, job postings, getting people certified in these positions. So our district does a wonderful job. And when I hear my principal friends across the state worried that, hey, Mike, I got two positions that they're certified positions I can't fill, and they're still not filled. I literally had that conversation last night with the principal. They're still not filled. So it's a real thing, and I just wanted to throw some numbers at you. But our district's doing a wonderful job, and this is why we're here today, because 1/4 of our general education classrooms at Palms have some form of a teacher pipeline push. And what I mean by that is either a high school student going into education in college, and she's already in the program, or a college student currently, 1/4 of our general education classrooms. Two particular young ladies in our school on a consistent basis are Miss Megan McAllister from Saginaw. She's a student teacher, and she teaches every day in kindergarten. She works with Megan Schindler. And then also Miss Madison Marzek. She's doing a student placement. That's kind of how it works through the college ranks. You have a placement, you become a student teacher, and hopefully, if they're pretty good, we'd like to hire them. Right, Ms. Demick?
Yes.
She's smiling and saying yes. So we're doing a specific, we're narrowing in on these student teachers, but it doesn't just start in college. It starts with this young lady behind me who is a former Palms student. You talk about pipeline, why not look at our community? Right? Our own students who are doing an amazing job wanting to get an education. We want the best teachers here in East China, continuing best teachers in East China, because our teachers are phenomenal. So I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Kaya Vitrino to talk about her experience, because once again, 12th grade student, Marine City High School, former Palm student. She's actually in the tech program at St. Clair County RESA. the education and early childhood development, and she spends almost half her day at Palms every day. I'm sorry, Kai, about 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Kai, and I want her to share her story because she is a former Palms student.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
So hi, I'm Kai Vitrino. Like Mr. D said, I'm a former Palms Elementary student. I had Mrs. Visnot as my 3rd grade teacher and Mr. D as my principal too. I go to Marine City High School. I'm a senior and I also attend St. Clair County Tech. Last year they just brought back the program and I was lucky enough to get a spot in it, which, I mean, there was only 9 kids in my class, so it wasn't very hard. And now I get to go into Palms Elementary every morning from 8:30 a.m. to 11, and then I go home and do some college classes online, and that's about what my day looks like. So we're going to focus more in on how my school day looks in Palms. So every morning I get to come in, and I get there before the students do, so I make the morning message on the board, and I will get like the breakfast screen set up and what the breakfast is for that day. I'll put the paper out so the students can come in and mark it. And then when the students get there, they'll come in and I'll make sure that they're getting that done because sometimes they forget. And then they'll start on their morning work and I'll walk around and I'll help them out with that. Recently, I just started a small group reading with a few students who are really good readers. So I give them a little comprehension questions, things like that to challenge them. I also work with students who need additional help. Maybe they need like some accommodations or things like that. And I work with students who are absent to get them caught back up. I also assist with some classroom management, so like behavior management. We have a punch card system. If kids were good, then they get a punch on their punch card. They can save up and they'll get like classroom money and they can buy items and prizes with that. I also have been recently leading the other 2nd grade class in Hegarty, which is phonemic awareness, and I learned how to do that from Mrs. Visnot. I started off by doing it with her, and now I go next door and run it on my own. Some special, Some special tasks that I get to do, not like every day, are build some bulletin boards for different seasons, holidays, or we just did a March's Reading Month one. Our theme is Pause for Reading, so all like different animals. And I had the teachers send me their pets, and then we put them up on a bulletin board, and the students have to guess whose pet is whose. I also did a 2nd grade teamwork project. People could bring in items of clothing for a Kids in Distress drive, and we had to help make the Grinch's heart grow bigger, so we did this around Christmas. I also run the classroom store, like I said, so the students will turn in their punch cards, then I'll give them a dime, and they can either save their money or spend it, so it really teaches saving money and counting money, things like that. I lead the class in directed drawings sometimes. I just taught them how to draw a leprechaun. Those turned out fun. And I create decodable books for them. So we have this book, and I rip out the pages, staple them together, and then the students will take them home and read them. We'll read them in class, different things like that. Some things that I've experienced with students, I've learned a lot of really good skills that I will take into my teaching in my classroom. I, like I said, assist with the students who need more help. So I've learned a lot of differentiation and how to accommodate for students who may need a little more help. I do that with dictation quizzes, reading decodable books, things like that. I also work with the students who are absent, like I said, and then also digging in deeper with the challenge novel. We recently have started that, and I help the students who need a higher level for reading, and I read with them and then give them comprehension questions, vocab questions, things like that. Some more skills that I've learned is behavior management. Like I said, the punch card technique is a really good one. The students actually gave me a punch card, and so whenever they think I did a good job, they'll punch my card for me. I've learned phonemic awareness with Hegarty. Like I said, differentiation and accommodations, and then a lot of new ways to build bulletin boards, and I have a lot of fun with that. So thank you, that's all for me.
So really quick, we'd be remiss not to give it from the student's perspective too. So we have two students with us. We have Blake Deach and Lexi Messina. And Blake, you want to go first? You're close to me. Go for it. Nice and loud.
Put his microphone.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Blake Deach, and I am a student in Miss Fisnall's second grade class. I really enjoy having Miss Kaya in my classroom this year. My favorite thing she does is teach Haggerty lessons with Miss Fisnall. We learn all about sounds. Miss Kaya always has a smile and is helpful. She is the best, and we love her at Palms.
And Miss Lexi. Go ahead, Lexi.
Hi, my name is Lexi Messina, and I am in Miss Fisnall's second grade class. I am new to Palms Elementary this school year and am really enjoying being a polar bear. I love having Miss Kaya in our classroom every day. When we do our morning work, she will help us if we get stuck. It is cool that she was a Palm student just like me, and I think she will be a wonderful teacher.
Thank you, Miss Lexi.
Okay, well, I feel like a proud mom tonight. You're often asked, why do you teach? And here it is. It was so wonderful having a former student come back, and now you see her just so confident and sure of herself and the positive impact she's having on the kiddos that I have now. It's everything to me. I think this is a wonderful program, and I'll just put it out there that if there's another student next year that needs a placement, my classroom is open. Thank you.
So I would just like to finish out by taking this opportunity to thank everybody who helped me get to this point. I want to thank St. Clair County Tech and East China School District for providing me with this opportunity to get this jump start on my career. I want to thank Mrs. Visna's wonderful students for welcoming me in with open arms. And I want to thank Palms Elementary for sparking my love for teaching 10 years ago. Most of all, I want to thank Mr. D and Mrs. Visna for this great learning opportunity. I truly cannot express how grateful I am, and thank you to everybody who is helping me on this journey.
Wow.
Awesome. So we're doing some great things at Palms Elementary. I know that Kaya is a former Palms student. She's doing her work at Palms, and I know that I can speak for several schools around the district, and I see some elementary principals going like this. They also have some students like this in their buildings too. So I just wanted to highlight that and throw a little bit of a spin on that academic spotlight, because we're doing some amazing things in this district, and it is exciting to be part of this district. And it's so exciting to see homegrown kids wanting to do what we're doing and stay here. And I think that's really exciting. So thank you.
Yeah, wonderful program. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Any questions?
Where are you headed to next year, Kaya?
So Tech actually is paying for Career Technical Middle College. So I'm currently enrolled in SC4 right now and taking all my college classes. I actually don't have any classes at Marine City anymore. And then next year I will continue on with that program through SC4, and I'll graduate with my associate's degree next year. And then the plan was always to go to Oakland, but I'm also debating on Saginaw now, so decision there.
Very good. And elementary education is where you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
I hope you're coming back to East China. Yeah. What year will you be done? I know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great for you.
That was great. Okay, our next item is our consent agenda. Motion is needed for the approval of minutes from our special Board of Education workshop on March 13th and our regular Board of Education meeting on March 13th, the approval of the payment of bills, financial statement, schedule of investments, and appointment of our SSW.
Support.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on into our department reports.
Hello, good evening. I will reserve my comments for later in the agenda under information and discussion.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good evening. I have nothing new to share since the last meeting.
Okay, kind of thought that might happen this evening.
Same with operations.
Okay. It's the same with the business.
I know you do.
Not so lucky with me. Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
I brought you tonight a culmination of some effort that I put in over the past year since I've hired in our emergency operations plan. This is hopefully one of my final drafts of this document. This document, I started with a copy from the Michigan State Police School Safety Task Force. It was a template that they provided us, and then I took it and tailored it to our needs, specifically for our district. I feel like it's a pretty comprehensive document. It covers everything from contact information to what to do in emergencies to where to go in a fire, during a fire alarm, a tornado emergency, things like that. Please take some time over the next month to review this and ask me any questions you might have at next month's meeting. This is a living document. It is never truly done. So once I get this edited, I have some minor editing to do with respect to format. Once that's taken care of, I've talked with our technical department, and they are going to get it online for us so that our staff and administration will have access to this. Provides us a framework for going forward with respect to any type of emergency. Just gives us it's basically our Bible. So we'll be able to respond by having this document in our hands and on our computers if needed. So I'll answer any questions that anybody might have. So once again, I understand it's quite long, fairly dry, but it's necessary. It's going to help us going forward to qualify for some grants that we haven't previously qualified for. So it satisfies a lot of needs for our district.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, committee reports.
Good evening. I don't have any subcommittee reports, but I do have a superintendent report that I'm going to provide at this time.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, President Frank and members of the board. Tonight, I'm going to provide for you a quick update on my goals as the superintendent of East China School District for the purposes of my evaluation and for the purposes of providing information on how we're moving forward. What I just gave you was the most recent enrollment numbers for East China School District, and what I'd like you to pay attention to, I highlighted ninth grade, 340 total students district-wide. That's our big class. That's the class that we're working to get through our system. So again, a quick update on my goals for the evaluation purposes and for your information on how the district is doing. So this is the timeline. It's the same timeline that we followed last year and this year, and we're at the March meeting where I'm providing the update. I have 4 goal areas, and each of the goal areas are tied to the strategic planning goals that the district agreed on back in 2017. And goal area number 1 is the area that is taking the most effort and planning and thought as we move forward for East China School District. And this goal area reads, continue oversight of facility renovations and the planning for the instructional and operational use of the renovated and our new facilities. This is our comprehensive building plan. And due to, I'm trying to read it, so I'm going to step over here like a teacher. Due to the declining enrollment and aging buildings, Eddy Elementary, our old middle school, and Gearing, those buildings were sold. So Eddy Elementary is off of our books. Gearing Elementary will be as soon as we're done with it. The lease agreement allows us to stay there for as long as we need the building, but the neat part about that purchase agreement was that the second we no longer need the facility, we're no longer responsible for it, so we don't have to incur the cost. The middle school, the old middle school, was also sold. So that is 3 buildings that will come off of the overall plan for East China School District, reducing our responsibility for maintaining. I wanted to mention that the declining enrollment trends that we see here in East China School District mirror the rest of the state of Michigan due to the birth rates, the lower birth rates, aging population, and families with school-aged children, some choosing to go out of state for jobs. I wanted to highlight this particular goal area with the numbers for East China School District. And you see there on this slide how the numbers have gone down from our peak in 2001 when the school district had 5,700 students to the current school year with 3,000, I'm sorry, I need to grab my other glasses. Sorry. Oh, there they are. 3,644. So you can see what I've provided here is the enrollment starting 10 years ago in 2013 at 4,404 students to each year progressively declining from 2013 until now. The average is about 100 to 120 students that we lose each year. So I thought it was interesting not only to show you the year-to-year decline that we have, but also the total decline of students from that peak in 2001, where we have 2,200 less students than we have now. There are districts in Michigan that don't have 2,200 students total, and that's the amount of students that we have lost from our peak in 2001. So each year, what this means is not only is it a financial challenge, because you know districts in Michigan are funded by a per pupil count, and currently we receive $9,150 per student. So for each student that doesn't return, or the differential, that's a loss of our revenue. But it also means that we face challenges for programming for classes, for use of our square footage in our facilities. As you get smaller, you face a multitude of challenges, and it's not just the financial piece, but it's how do we function with less students. So that was our long-range plan of moving to a 612 facility so that we would be using all of our resources for all of our students. So before I move on to the next slide, are there any questions from this one? There's a lot of information on here, board members. And in red, you'll see the loss of revenue based on current foundation allowance. So for 2022-2023, we were down 157 students, which equated to about $1.4 million in less revenue. Next year, based on the kindergarten enrollment and the students we have with us, the projection is it will be down 99 students, which equates on our budget side to almost $900,000 in revenue loss. So over the years, East China School District has had to every year not only look at the financial implications of not having the same revenue coming in, but also what they were going to do with their buildings and resources. So this is the biggest goal area that we needed to address. The facilities, upgrading them, consolidating them, and then figuring out how best to use them instructionally to meet the needs of our students. So that's goal area 1. I wanted to share with you the bond project updates, because this is the part of goal area 1 that is our biggest piece that we're working on right now, and the pieces are starting to fall together. So the East China Stadium upgrades completed. New access road with lighting and parking lot repaving completed. First East China School District Early Learning Center completed and open for this school year. The Marine City tennis courts completed. Marine City 612 campus started construction recently. St. Clair Gym addition is under construction, and the projected completion timeline right now is this summer. The Innovation Center that we're standing in now, construction is complete, and we're just doing the fine details with wiring and signage. The administration offices that receive new carpet, new paint, and new lighting are finished. And then our projects that are upcoming, technology is ongoing, and that includes the district upgrades to the main function of the technology department, but also our students receiving technology and our teacher classrooms receiving technology. So I know that Mr. Headley would agree with me that this is a large project, an ongoing project, but a very, very exciting project. So all those years that I showed you with declining enrollment, when decisions had to be made regarding what wasn't going to run or what we needed to cut, we are now having conversations around this exciting new technology that's coming into our buildings, and not what we have to do without, but what we're excited to be adding. Bell River Elementary, the paving project looks to be being pulled ahead there. Otherwise, it's in the design phase. Pine River is in the design phase. St. Clair Elementary is in the design phase, and so is Palms Elementary. I wanted to share with you some images, renderings that TMP, our architect, has given me for the projects that are underway. This is the main entrance of the Marine City 612 campus. This is the Ward Street entrance. We'll be moving the offices to the front where you see those windows there next to the round window on the left-hand side. That will be the main office with the safe and secure entrance there on Ward Street. This is the new Marine City Athletic entrance. This is currently an entrance down by the band rooms on the Marine City campus. The current Marine City Athletic entrance is further to the south. Going in, we're just pulling it north and making it more prominent with a backlit MC logo sign there to draw attention. This is a rendering of the new Marine City office, the main office coming in, the front desk, along with some support staff in the principal's office right there, that door. This would be after you walked into that safe, or through the safe and secure entrance. This is the Marine City Counseling Center. What's really neat about the design of the Marine City complex is the counseling center is at one end and the administration offices are at the other, and they share a long hallway. So a lot of opportunity for collaboration and discussion among the administration and the counseling department there. This is the Marine City Commons. So as you enter on Ward Street, this would be, as you get through safe and secure entrances, behind you would be the counseling offices and the main administrative offices. And this is their collaborative space, their commons area with the baffles up above. And you can't quite see it, but all the way down on the right is going to be the Mariner store. This is a rendering of the gym that's being built at the St. Clair campus. This will be their new athletic entrance there with the glass. And this is an interior view of the entrance there for the St. Clair gym and new athletic entrance, and that will be their trophy case there. And you can just barely see if you peek into the gym there on the right-hand side. And then this is a rendering of the facility we're in right now. This is the 10 classrooms, conference room, and offices that were built on Meisner location, the Innovation Center. So that is the big goal area identified during our strategic planning process that this district needed to address, the declining enrollment and the use and upgrade of our facilities and technology. Goal area number 2, this was to implement a marketing plan to promote positive and updated information to the community. We send a bi-weekly digital email to our community and families. We send a bi-weekly digital email to the staff. An end of the year and mid-year mailing newsletter is in the works to go home to all of our community members. So that would be the more traditional mailing of a newsletter that will be going out, and currently cabinet members and myself are supplying information for that newsletter to go out shortly. A Parent Advisory Council was reconvened this year after a couple 2-year COVID absence. We're back. We've had 2 meetings, and we've got another meeting this week. It's great to have a parent representative from each of our schools, along with administrative representatives, to talk about what their goals are for the district, what they're seeing, and what they would like to see. So we're glad to have that council back online. And then I held a coffee with the superintendent in February, and I gave a tour of the Innovation Center here for any of our community members. I've done this in the past. I really like it. I like to just be able to not have an agenda and talk and hear what our community members are feeling about the school district and what they're looking for from us. It's goal area 2. Goal area 3 is leveraging professional learning communities to improve student academic and social emotional outcomes. This, when we were going through the strategic planning process, East China School District did not have PLCs, and we were looking forward to getting those started. With the help of Michael Walling and the curriculum department, these have really become robust times for our teachers to get together, to collaborate and improve shared teaching skills and the performance using data of how we're going to move forward with our students and their needs. You'll see the PLC meeting dates there on the right-hand side for this school year. And an update that we're very excited about is for the 2023-2024 school year, an MTSS leadership team will be formed, and that leadership team will consist of teacher representatives from each of the content areas at the secondary level, and also from elementary representatives from each of the grade levels. This MTSS team will be tasked with helping to identify our learning targets, analyze the data, NWEA, classroom data, and direct Tier 2 targeted interventions. This information then will be shared at the PLCs, disseminated by these MTSS leaders, our RTI leaders, and the goal here is to become more intensive with that Tier 2 instruction. Tier 1 is the core instruction. Tier 2 is what do we do when we're not quite learning it, and that's where we want to focus our efforts for next year. It's just that next level up, and we'll use district teacher representatives to help us do that. So that's new for next year, and those have been posted, and we're receiving interested folks giving us their applications. So that's goal area number 3.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Yeah.
So how many teachers will be on that? 12, you said?
12.
And then how often will they meet?
We haven't set a meeting schedule yet, but in my mind, that would be monthly prior to the PLC, so that we could direct the work that would occur during the PLC.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the final is goal area number 4, ensuring the financial stability of the school district. Again, that goes back to those numbers I shared with you originally of the declining enrollment and the fact that our funding is tied to our students on a per pupil basis. And so the 2 areas that I wanted to highlight here is the fact that we have a process that the district has had for many years where we, along with the business office, give an opening budget in June, and then we revise it once we have a better fine-tuning of numbers in January, and then a final budget is presented to the board in early June for approval in late June. And we continue that cycle over and over, and it seems to be working very well for keeping everyone updated and keeping our budget on track. One of the things that we have to address in the upcoming year and a half here is one of my tasks was to provide the board with a proposed election timeline for the sinking fund millage along with the operating mills renewal. We're looking at that to be in November of 2024. And we're making plans and discussing with TMP, our architect, the best way to share that information with our public, and along with PFM, our financial managers, to get that information out and share the need with our communities and why the sinking fund is so important after we build all these beautiful facilities and renovate, that we're going to need that to maintain these buildings that we've put in place. And of course, the operating mills is non-homestead renewal that we'll be looking for at the same time. So those are the 4 goal areas that have been in place for quite a little while now. That was part of our strategic planning plan from 2017. I would suggest maybe next year that we revisit these goals and refine them for the upcoming year. But that's where we're at. And looking ahead, Michael Walling gave an amazing summary at our last board meeting of all of the exciting curriculum pieces that have been put in place and initiatives that are started this year and going to carry over to next year. Currently, we are working on a schedule for the 2023-2024 school year that allows the use of the Innovation Center classrooms, as well as providing time for that Tier 2 targeted intervention that I mentioned during the PLC discussion. We have those MTSS leaders that we are going to have in place for next year. The positions have been posted and gathering names. And the final point I wanted to make is that we're exploring instructional hires for the 2023-2024 school year. I think I have the wrong dates up here, which would include a middle school interventionists and K-2 classroom size reduction. But what we're looking at there is anything we do, anything we purchase, we know it needs to be sustainable for years moving forward. We don't want to put something in place that we can't sustain moving forward, depending on the different budgeting concerns that we have. So we're exploring those ideas and looking for ways that we can build them into a budget and keep them there for many years to come. So those are my 4 goal areas. Those are my looking ahead tasks. Are there any questions that I can answer? Any discussion that you'd like to have? Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is our information and discussion items, ECEA Points of Pride. Christine Nichols.
Hello, I'm Christy Nichols. I'm a teacher at St. Clair High School, and on behalf of the ECEA, I want to share some slides with you that the teachers have shared with me about some exciting classroom experiences and activities. The first one we have here is about the wonderful art out of St. Clair Middle School that was featured at the Beatrice Thornton Art Show at SC4. Next, we have some art at St. Clair High School with Sarah Black. Students learned about surface designers and how to create seamless patterns. They created projects for the Art to Remember fundraiser, which is helping raise funds for the New York City art field trip. I don't know if you can see it, but on the bottom she notes surface designers make an average of $60,000 to $125,000. I think I want to join her class. Next, Mrs. Bocano's ELA 9 students researched Shakespeare and created social media account for him featuring the information they learned. Also, in Mrs. Bocano's classes, they participated Kindness Week with a kindness challenge. Each student was challenged to complete at least 6 acts of kindness during the week. Students received one 50-50 ticket for each act of kindness that was entered into a drawing to win one of 3 gift cards. That's kind of small. So we have volunteering, shoveling snow, thanking volunteers at an event, making someone a gift basket, taking extra shifts at work because they were short-staffed, being kind to myself and eating a healthy snack, slipping a note into a friend's bag, and over 550 acts of kindness were completed. At St. Clair High School, every month, students in the peer-to-peer program at St. Clair High School get together for a seminar social, which allows the peers and links an opportunity to socialize and practice their social skills. And we usually have an activity planned and always have a snack. These pictures are from our February activity where we made Valentine's cards to be sent to local nursing homes. And then we have Dr. Seuss's birthday. Mrs. Justa and Ms. Weichert took students to Gearing Elementary on March 2nd to read to some first grade classes. And then we also have some information about how our district is becoming increasingly diverse. We have students from that whole list of different countries, 17 spoken languages. Wow. 102 teachers have English learners in their class, 46 students district-wide with diverse language backgrounds. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, purchase of cafeteria tables. Mrs. Dimick.
Thank you. Tonight I just want to talk to you about the purchase of cafeteria tables, which doesn't sound very exciting, but really it is. Through the efforts of Susan Stringer, our child care supervisor, we were able to receive a child care stabilization grant from the state of Michigan. That grant was specifically allocated to our before and after school aged child care program, otherwise known as Latchkey. So through our Latchkey program, they received in a total with the 4 buildings about $200,000. So with that money, we were able to provide staff bonuses. That was part of the grant, and then also some much-needed new games and toys and supplies for the kids. But the single most important thing that we needed were tables. Our Latchkey sites use our cafeterias at the elementary school. Last October, during one of our licensing renewal inspections, the state inspector noticed some tables that were in pretty bad disrepair, taped over a couple times. She was afraid they weren't going to make the next inspection. So with that and with this additional money, we were then able to obtain quotes for new tables. Each of our elementary schools will now receive 12 cafeteria tables. We couldn't replace them all, but having the 12 new ones that are being used by Latchkey before and after school, that will be a huge improvement to the elementary schools and our Latchkey program. So through a cooperative bid, we will be recommending Great Lakes Furniture as the provider of those tables, and because of the amount, which is about $83,000 for 3 of the 4, we will have that on the next agenda. But we wanted to just provide you with that information now, so at the next meeting, you would be able to approve that purchase.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to go into closed session, and when we return, we have our action items this evening, which is the appointment of our special service administrator and provision for custodial services. But at this time, a motion is needed for the Board of Education to go into closed session pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Meetings Act, Act 267 of 1976, board discussion connected to the discipline of a student. Mrs. Clements, we'll do a roll call. Oh, no, we do need to, you're right. I need a second.
Second.
Sorry. So that was Karen and Todd.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Secretary Disselrath?
Yes.
Treasurer Cedar?
Yes.
Trustee Becker?
Yes.
And President Frank?
Yes. Okay. Okay, we are back in open session, and we'll move on to our action items. Our first action item is the appointment of a special services administrator, and the motion is the Board of Education approves the appointment of Jessica Brohl as special services administrator. So moved?
Seconded.
Okay, Karen. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Jessica. Thank you. Okay, our next action item is provision of custodial services. So a motion is needed for the Board of Education to direct the administration to explore alternative methods of providing cleaning services within the district with a final contract to be approved at a later date.
So moved.
Support.
Any comments or questions? Okay. Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then I need a motion is needed for administration's recommendation that the Board of Education accepts the recommendation for student 2022-01 presented at the March 20th, 2023 Student Discipline Review Hearing.
So moved.
Support. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.